welcome. Really excited to kick off this webinar today on co-browsing and adding prompts in Genesys Cloud. I'm Austin Culp. I'm Director of Sales at InflowCX. Coming up soon, we do have another Genesys webinar, and it's regarding end of Genesys Pure Connect and their multi-cloud offering. So make sure to mark your calendars for that if you're interested. It's on December 15th, same day of the week and same time. I'll go ahead and kick us off here. So today what we're going to go through is really high level, 5-ish or so minutes, maybe even less. Who is InflowCX, in case you're not sure who we are or signed up by accident or something maybe. I'll go through who InflowCX is, and then I'll pass it off to Richard Dixon, who is going to take us through co-browsing, adding prompts, do a live demo. Should be plenty of time for question and answer towards the end, and then we'll wrap up. So without further ado, I'll talk a little bit about who we are. InflowCX, we're a provider of advisory, deployment, and managed services for contact center and customer experience, and even unified communications solutions. While we've got some really great partnerships, like with Genesys, for instance, they aren't our only partner. We take a really technology and vendor neutral and agnostic approach to customer experience, contact center, and unified communications. That way we can really give you an unbiased and fair and data-driven opinion on who your best technology partner might be. And we can help, in a lot of different ways. Some quick highlights, we're over 75-ish employees today. I've done many contact center installs, consulting engagements. And if you need more information on us, check us out on G2 or Glassdoor from a review perspective. We do help customers of all shapes and sizes because we're so laser focused on customer experience, contact center, and unified communications. We can really apply that to almost any type of industry. We've got customers everywhere from tech to retail to BPOs to real estate and services, and we're able to do that because we're definitely not a jack of all trades type of solution provider. In other words, we know our lane, we stay in it. We don't try to get into network and security and all these other aspects. We know what we're great at, and we continue to innovate and elevate there. This is just a sampling of some of our technology partners. As I mentioned, focus today is on Genesys, but we're really experts in this space. We've got contact center and UCaaS partnerships with all of the top players in this space today, and then the CX ecosystem technologies. So all the things that come typically with or after a CCaaS platform, WFM, WEM, quality analytics, AI, agent assist, and all these other technologies out here that we can help people with. We pride ourselves on being the experts in this space. That way our customers don't really have to. They're able to just do their jobs and work on their business without having to go and figure out who does what, who's the best at what, and what the right solution is for them. But enough about Inflow. I will pass it over to Richard to walk us through co-browsing.
Fantastic. Let me go ahead and take over the share here. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. We're going to go over co-browsing. So this feature isn't out just yet. It is projected to be out soon, but it is. I don't have a firm date on it. But this is going to be able to leverage those of you who are already using web messaging. This is going to be an enhancement to that. There's going to be a few things that you might need to set up, but it's pretty easy to do. So the requirements for you to be able to set it up as an administrator, you'll need to have a Genesys user 2 or 3 license, and then you'll need to have the web developments configurations all permission for web messaging. So what co-browsing is going to do is it's going to be for web messaging to be enabled to during the creation of a messenger configuration. So when you're building out that web messaging, even if you already have it built out, we should be able to recreate this. Once the co-browsing is enabled on the configuration, the admin has the option to additionally configure options to allow agents to request control of the user screen. So this is going to be something that we can work together on in order to be able to view somebody else's screen or even control it. So this is going to work really well for those IT individuals, to be able to help fix tasks. For any sensitive customer data on your website, you may want to mask those elements. That way you can block certain areas. That way they're not able to see specific things. This can be done by adding specific CSS class names to your messenger configuration, or you can use a class name which includes by default co-brow masked. So for the website requirements, so there are some requirements for both the user and the website. So you have to be able to have Kansas elements, video, and Flash. Co-browse does not mirror most ads because potential security vulnerabilities. And the agent requirement, the agent is going to be the same as just general Genesys cloud requirements. So the sharer requirements is going to be the person who you're working with. Customers are going to need a web browser to be able to share their video web page with an agent. Customers can use any of the listed browsers for the listed operating systems as well. So Genesys recommends the most recent released versions of those listed. Older versions and pre-release versions may not be supported. So operating system wise, Mac and Windows both work. And then as far as browsers go, you're going to have Chrome, you're going to have Firefox, Safari Tech Preview, Internet Explorer, and Edge. However, to note in here, CSS files are needed to publicly access for co-browse. For example, if your customer wants to use co-browse after a member is logged in or within the internet, CSS files must be publicly accessible or display issues might occur. So remember that if you're working internally. So co-browse. So with Genesys Cloud Co-Browse for web messaging, customers may share their view of their current browser tab with an agent that they're browsing over HTTPS. After sharing starts, the sharer can see where the agent clicks on the page. Co-Browse for web messaging provides the following features. So the ability for agents to propose a co-browse session during an existing web message interaction. So I can transition very easily from the message that I'm interacting with over to a co-browse session. There's no downloads for the sharers. No additional co-browse code required. You can use your existing web messaging deployment snippet. The configurable mask roles for sensitive data. Cursor mirroring that allows the sharer to view each other's cursor for movement. That can be really easy to allow you to be able to see different aspects and go, hey, I need you to click in the upper left and move your mouse so they can see where this is if they're having trouble navigating your website. Click annotation so that both parties are using each other's clicks. The sharing limit is to one sharer and one view. It supports Shift JIS encoding and the industrial standard encryption for both data at rest and data and transit. And then you can also draw annotations for the sharer and viewer. So they're able to circle and draw on the screen as well. So how does this actually work? So co-browser sessions have one sharer, one viewer. So that's really important to know. It's only one-to-one. The sharer is going to be the user who shares the screen, usually a customer in this aspect. And the viewer typically is going to be the agent. The agent can run one co-browse session at a time. So you're limited in that. I know that you can have multiple messages going on at the same time, but you can only have one co-browse session currently. During the co-browse session, co-browser sends any changes to your website, so via the document object model to Genesys Cloud. The DOM describes the underlying structure of the web pages. Co-browser then uses this information to build the same page the user sees on the viewer screen seamlessly. So co-browse watches from any change on the page, such as scrolling, clicking, text typed, and a form field. When there's a change to the DOM, co-browse sends this change to Genesys Cloud and updates the viewer screen in real time. Because co-browse watches for updates to the DOM, it's a lightweight and fast situation there. Co-browse sends only textual information, such as opposed to video for the sharer screen. Co-browse can also send information when there is a change instead of continuously streaming. This architecture provides security because when you configure masking, viewers cannot see any information that you have masked as sensitive, and that information never leaves the sharer system. So this is kind of what it's going to look like here. So co-browse gives both the sharer and the viewer more tools for communication. When the viewer clicks share anywhere on the message or co-browse marks in place where the user has clicked, and colored circle graphic. So when I click on there, it's going to highlight around the actual marker. That way people can see exactly where I'm clicking. The viewer can request control. For example, an agent can ask for control to fill out part of a form for themselves. Both the sharer and the viewer can add drawings and annotations, which Genesys Cloud displays for both users. And the administrator can configure share pages so that any sensitive information cannot be displayed by the viewer. So how do we do this once we actually get access to this? In the existing web messaging conversation, click the following icon with the agent toolbar. A message will appear in the sharer's request of the share browser. Ask the sharer to accept. So that little image there, you click that, it's going to send them whether or not they want to accept or not. After they accept, so it's not something that is forced, it's something that has to be accepted, I can now see the browser. When you have control of the page, you can complete the following actions. So I can type in text fields in the sharer's page, and I can select boxes from forms and advance the screen. I can also click request control. So after I click request control, they can accept it, and that's what they're going to see on there. It says the remote control request. This takes us control of the browser. They can accept or decline at that time. Add a drawing. So there's also the ability to draw on there and annotate. Clicking that option there will give the ability to draw on the screen. This will, allow the sharer to see the drawings immediately. You can also resize the viewer. That way, if you're working in a different environment from what they are, so if they're using a very large screen versus something that you're operating from, so if they're operating in, like, let's say 4K, you can shrink that down to fit, or you can blow it up to be able to see some text if it's a little bit more difficult there. It's going to have a reslide sizer on it. You can also operate in full screen with this. All right, we're going to switch over to prompts here. So adding a prompt, there is a prerequisite to this. You'll need to go into the architect UI view. So you'll have to have that in order to be able to do this. To work with system prompts, the following prerequisites will be important. You'll need architect, system prompt edit, and system prompt view. To work with user prompts, you'll need architect, user prompt add, edit, and view. So here's some important things when you're trying to name your prompts or at least add them to the system. It cannot contain spaces or special characters. It must begin with a numeric it cannot begin with a numeric or special character and include any name in use. However, what it can do is contain letters, numbers, and underscores for characters, begin with a letter. And architect prevents you from creating a prompt that begins with a numeric or special character and prompts you with a message if the prompt name is already in use. So if I have a duplicate in there, it's going to show me that as well. So in architect, the prompt is essentially a container for the prompt resource or the resource select guide calls through an interaction. Prompts are either an audio message that inform the caller of when an action is required, or a process is complete. For example, architect can play a prompt when control is passed to a menu, or when a call is transferred to a work group. In general, prompts tell a caller what to do. A prompt is going to be a resource that is going to be a recorded audio file or text-to-speech phrasing that you specify within the prompt container itself. You can upload a pre-recorded WAV audio file to the user. You can also record an audio prompt in a WAV format if you have a microphone installed on your computer or device or from your browser. It can also text-to-speech to a prompt resource. Drag this over. So I'm already an architect. I've clicked on prompt under users here. I have named it webinar and test, and this is where it'll come up next. So I can now add the audio, which is going to be either record from the browser like we discussed, or upload. So I will select a prompt to import here. I'm just going to go down to my music, do greeting one, click open. This allows you to play it to make sure everything is working, and then you can upload it. So it's now processing the audio. You can see it's 1.1 seconds. It's what I have on there. And then I click OK, and now it's in the system. So if I go back to flows, and I go down to the training flow that we have been working on over a series of webinars here. I can now go in anywhere within here, and I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit easier. I can add, so this is where the block calls are, play audio, which already has a text to speech here. After that, after it goes to a flow, we'll add prompt. So I have clicked add audio. I've deleted that blank audio that was already there. I've clicked add prompt, and now I'll be able to go through and find my prompts. So I have webinar on here. So that's the prompt that I have. And hit close, and it is here and available. That's how easy it is to add a prompt to the system. All right, looks like we have some questions here. So you asked where you can get the web snippet for the deployment. So when you are generating the web messenger deployment, the code snippet will be generated during that time. Saying you have an actual question there, will it replace something like go to assist? I can't say that it will be a one-for-one in that case. I haven't had to have the option of hands-on yet because it's not out yet, but going from what I have seen on their website and what they have described, it's going to be something that is going to be a browser-based one-to-one. I don't think it'll be something where we can take over other systems and browse other places other than what they have on their page currently. Currently, Stan, you have another question about whether or not it needs to be set up. Right now, it will need to be set up as far as the web messenger, so it's not going to be natively configured at this point, or at least from what I've seen, it's not a native configuration. Sandeep, I will see if I can pull open a quick one on here. So you asked what configuration is required to enable co-browse. Does it require any customization or code development? And see if I can give a quick walkthrough. So I'll try to pull up something really quickly on this. I don't have a demo set up for it, but I'll see if I'm able to pull this up for you. So it's going to be no different as far as the cloud snippet and functionality. It's going to be the same as the browser. And Stan asks, do we have an estimated release for the co-browser? Currently, no, I don't have an estimated release date on that yet. So I'm going to put the keep in touch up here while I'm working to get a quick demonstration if I'm able to get it up in time. I won't have co-browse because it's not available yet.
Definitely do that on a future topic when it is
Yeah.
when it is available, though.
I think that would probably be better since I don't have it set up at this point, and it's going to take a while to get it to go. Um, when you do create a web message on here, it will have the code snippet and it will produce it. So there's no extra that you have to do currently as far as the web messaging goes. So there's no real change. You just might have to update the same snippet of code that you generate when you create the web message. I think what would be best is if we do a live demo of building that when it does release, we can show exactly how to do it. I think that would be better in this situation. That way we can walk through all the steps required for it.
Excellent. All right. And I do think that was all the questions. Got a few questions this time. So great. If you do have any other questions or anything that you would like to ask us after the demo, feel free to contact us. Our information is right there. Thanks for attending and looking forward to seeing everyone on the next webinar. Wait, Richard, there is one more question, and that's, can we enable it for native chat widget?
So no, that won't be for, so the part that we went over today is going to be for the web messaging. So that's where that co-browse is there. To my knowledge, there is already one for the web chat. So there is a difference between the chat, which they are trying to depreciate. They're moving away from it and they want everybody to move to web messaging. That's the direction that they're headed. So that's why I didn't cover co-browse within web chat, because it is moving to web message, which is a different setup. Very similar, but it is a different setup.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Richard, and thanks to all of our attendees for participating in the thoughtful questions. We appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.